Most people assume every new Harley is just louder paint and a bigger price tag, but the 2026 Harley-Davidson Scat caught me off guard for a different reason entirely. The first thing I noticed isn't the engine or styling, it's how clearly Harley seems to be chasing riders who want muscle without the bulk. When I compared the Scat to bikes like the Lowrider S or even the Sportster S, the difference felt philosophical, not just mechanical. The Scat feels like Harley asking, what if performance actually mattered more than nostalgia? And honestly, that surprised me. One mistake I see riders already making is assuming this bike is just another cruiser with cosmetic tweaks. But when you look closely, the riding stance, weight balance, and tuning hinted something meant to be ridden hard, not just parked outside a cafe. My practical takeaway here? If you're shopping cruisers, stop only comparing horsepower numbers and start thinking about how often you actually ride aggressively. Because what surprised me during my research is how many Harley owners want speed but buy bikes that fight them in corners. The Scat seems aimed at fixing that gap. Another thing that caught my attention is the expected engine character. Harley engines usually lean toward torque-heavy, relaxed power delivery, but everything about this bike suggests quicker throttle response and sharper mid-range punch. When I compared it mentally with bikes like the Indian FTR or Yamaha MT-09, I realized Harley might finally be acknowledging younger performance-focused riders. Still, here's where people get confused. Many riders think a performance cruiser must sacrifice comfort completely, becoming stiff and tiring for longer rides. From what I see, Harley is trying to balance both worlds instead of choosing one. So the practical insight here, if you ride both highways and twisty roads, the Scat might make more sense than pure sport bikes or oversized touring cruisers. Another overlooked detail is weight distribution. Most cruisers feel heavy when turning slowly or maneuvering in parking lots, which new riders rarely expect until they live with the bike. What surprised me is how much attention Harley seems to be putting into making this bike feel lighter than it actually is. And here's the misconception. Many riders assume lighter bikes automatically feel cheap or unstable at speed, but smarter chassis design can give both agility and highway stability, and that seems to be the goal here. Practical takeaway? If you test ride one, don't just ride straight roads. Try slow turns, U-turns, and tight corners to really feel the difference. Then there's styling, and honestly, this part divided my opinion at first. Harley loyalists often want traditional looks, while newer riders want something aggressive and modern. The Scat seems sit right in between, and I wasn't sure I liked that initially. But after comparing images and concepts, I realized blending classic muscle with modern sharpness might actually age better over time. Another mistake buyers make is choosing a bike purely because it looks cool online. In real life, riding comfort and heat management matter far more after the first month. Practical insight here, pay attention to seat shape, foot peg position, and engine heat, especially if you ride in traffic. What really made me curious, though, is how this bike might change Harley's audience. I noticed many younger riders skip Harley entirely because they associate it with heavy touring bikes and older riders. The Scat looks like Harley quietly saying, we're still about performance too. But here's a doubt I still have. Will traditional Harley fans accept this direction, or will they see it as Harley chasing trends? Because brand identity matters a lot in motorcycle culture. Practical takeaway? Buy the bike that fits your riding style, not the brand image you think you need to match. Another interesting angle is pricing expectations. Harleys aren't cheap, and people automatically assume performance-focused versions cost even more. But if Harley keeps pricing competitive against performance cruisers and naked bikes, this could become a serious contender. Still, one common buyer mistake is stretching finances just to own a premium badge. My advice? Budget for gear, insurance, maintenance, and riding experiences, not just the motorcycle payment. One thing most people miss is how motorcycles change with aftermarket customization. Harleys have always dominated customization culture, and the Scat will likely become a huge platform for performance mods, which means the stock bike might just be the starting point. Practical takeaway here is simple. Think about long-term ownership and upgrade potential before deciding. Finally, I kept asking myself one question while looking at everything this bike represents. Would I actually enjoy riding it daily, not just admire admire it in a garage? And surprisingly, the answer leans toward yes. It feels like a Harley built for people who love riding more than posing. If Harley truly delivers on performance, handling, and comfort balance, the Scat could quietly become one of their most important modern bikes. And honestly, I like seeing Harley experiment again instead of just repeating history, because motorcycles should evolve with riders, not trap them in nostalgia. For me, the 2026 Harley-Davidson Scat feels less like a statement bike and more like an invitation to ride harder, longer, and more often. And that's the Harley direction I've been waiting to see.